I wanted to share my story because basically I am one of those people who, unfortunately for me, kind of had my own journey in and out of Islam. And I lived my life as a Muslim for a good amount of years. And then I left. And I just wanted to share my perspective because um, I think there's a great amount of like ex-Muslim stories where people have left and, these people were born into Islam, but there's also a percentage of people and, who convert to Islam and actually leave. But the Islamist propaganda is kind of like, they like to pretend that so many people convert to Islam and then their lives are so much better. And look, I believe that probably is a case that some people have converted to Islam and they are very happy with their decision and they feel it was the right choice for them. But I wanted to share my story of how I felt that the decision I made was completely wrong. And it did negatively impact my life. I didn't find peace in it and I ended up leaving. And I just want to share my experience really and the reasons why I decided to leave, but also the reasons how I entered into the faith, because that's also important to discuss, because not everyone enters into a religion for the right reasons, and it's something that I think should be avoided. So I'll quickly document my story and I will try my hardest to um explain kind of what happened to me and whatnot. So long story short, I grew up Catholic, and I actually grew up in a really tight-knit Catholic community in London, and I basically didn't really have any other friends of other faiths or family members. So it was just everything was just Catholicism. As I said, I went to Catholic schools, and then when I was like, I think I was 16, I actually left the Catholic school system and I went to just a normal sixth form. And that's the first time I was ever introduced to Islam, because before then I just knew about it from like the news, unfortunately. Just like that kind of classic media coverage, especially growing up, in the kind of in the wake of 9/11, really, really kind of colored my view on Islam from that perspective. So I just thought it was something quite scary. And I didn't mix with Muslim people, so I had no idea what it was about. I just thought it was something that was quite controversial. My family had no issues with Islam, but all we knew about, the only time we'd hear about it was like when there was a terrorist attack, which sounds terrible, but that's just how it was. Yeah, so I actually studied religious studies for my A levels, which is like kind of the education you do just before you go to uni in the UK. I ended up taking a class called religious studies, which I thought was religious studies, but it was actually just Islamic studies. I don't know why they just didn't write Islamic studies, but I guess because of the UK curriculum, they had to label it as religious studies. So I ended up in this class, and it was just basically, there was only like 5 non-Muslims in a class of like 30 students. And to be honest, I had never experienced the Muslim community before, and it struck me as being absolutely supportive,